All right, ladies and gentlemen, how the hell are you? Chronic Chris of AsgardRadio.com here where the gods go to rock, hanging out tonight with Marcus K. He's a street musician who's currently over in South Korea, but from what I've seen on YouTube, and this guy's amazing. Another guy I work with, like I said earlier on Asgard, another guy I work with was playing his music, and I my head perked up when I heard a cover of Voodoo Child. And I said right then and there, we need to know more. So, Marcus, where are you from, and how did you get to be performing music?
I'm from Holland originally, the Netherlands. And I guess I started off early trying out the sound of the hall in our old house, singing operetta type voices when I was 5. And I just carried on like that and learned a bit of guitar, learned a bit of keyboards, and did it all my life, really.
Okay. So you started playing at a young age and just kind of kept it going?
Yeah, I guess when I was 14, 15, I started taking it a bit more seriously. And I already got in. I read a book about the Beatles when I was 15, I think. And I just thought that was it. That was it for me. That's what I wanted. So that was stuck in my head. So I wanted to be a musician.
Awesome. And now you're currently in South Korea, but you've traveled all over the world as a street musician.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Now one of the things we were wondering is how does that work out? Like I know most put their guitar case out and people walk by and throw tips, and that actually can afford you to travel around?
Yes, it does actually. We sell CDs as well. So when we have a good session, we tend to sell a couple of CDs and a USB stick. Sometimes it's very good and we sell enough to keep going for half a month. So it varies a lot. It's part of the game. You never know how it's going to go. But in the end, it always tends to work out one way or another.
Right on, right on. And I always say it's, if I was given a choice, if I could actually play an instrument and they gave me a choice between a street performer or selling out a stadium, I'd pick being a street performer.
Really? Oh, that's good.
Well,
that's nice to hear.
Well, for one,
I do that as well, actually.
As a street performer, no one's going to tell you what to play and where to play it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And second off, the way I see it, a lot of tickets and a lot of shows nowadays are just overpriced anyways. And as a, street performer, people pay from the heart.
Yes.
Shall we say.
Yeah, and that's the magic that I realized early on. When you're in a place with a little bit of movement, people who are not really interested, they keep going. But sometimes within 5 minutes, I will have a group of people where it sticks, where they hear something and they stop. So then that's a very receptive audience because they feel a connection and they didn't expect anything. They were just on their way somewhere and suddenly there's this surprise. So they're completely innocent and open-minded. They haven't paid any money. They haven't got any preconceptions. And so whatever you do, if they feel it, it works.
Right. Well, I tell you what, from what I've heard, I'm definitely feeling it. I love it. And I want to know more about the looper.
Right.
Like, how does that all work out and how do you get that set up and going?
I've just recently changed to Loopy Pro on iPad. Before I was using Voice Live 3, which is like you can have 2 or 3 different tracks that you can record and play. And it's got it's a great machine. It's got a vocal and guitar effects, etc. And I worked with that for about 5 or 6 years, I think. And then somebody told me about Loopy Pro and I looked into it. And so now it all goes through Loopy Pro on the iPad. And a huge advantage is that I can record everything I do live, multi-track. So all the different tracks that I play in the loops, they are all record it separately, and afterwards I can do a remix, which is really good for. I'm now working on an album of a set that I did a couple of weeks ago, which will just be like one particular performance that I really liked. And I can do that. I can tweak the sounds. I can edit it a little bit and make it sound really good quality, studio quality, really. It's all studio quality. So I'm really excited about that. It takes a while to get used to it, you know, but the iPad means that there are no limitations. I can have any effects on anything with the press of a button. And I keep it as simple as possible, but the possibilities are endless with that.
Okay. Now, you said you're originally from Holland. You're currently in South Korea. Where all has being a performer taken you?
Just off the top of my head, India, Mexico, Istanbul, all of Europe, Scandinavia, the US, and can you remember any of the others? Marga's sitting next to me in a dressing gown, so she won't be visible, but she might offer a couple of. So, and it's only a part, really. It's only a small part. We only did the southern states about 4 years ago.
Okay.
We now have to go to Japan, which is the first, and then Australia. We've got many fans in Australia, and so they're excited to that we go and hit their country, and that should be really, really good fun.
Right on. Yeah, you'll definitely have to hit us up when you come, if you come back to the United States, because if you go to our website, asgardradio.com, we got a section called Asgard Connect, and it's people all across the United States that have a room for musicians to spend the night, do some laundry, get a home cooked meal, get a feeling of at home while you're on tour traveling. And everybody on that list has been vetted and background checked. So, you know, we ain't gonna send you off to Crazy McCreepy's house.
Yeah. No, that sounds really good, actually, because we did a tour 4 years ago, and we used Airbnb and couch surfing and booking, but of course it gets a little bit expensive.
Right.
And busking in the US is not always very easy. So I was already thinking to combine it with house concerts, which is another thing I really like doing.
Okay.
So that could work. So, and it's also a way to get a good night's sleep in somebody's home and a nice meal and things. So it's a similar idea. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because you know that's kind of why we do the Asgard Connect, because we know a lot of independent musicians and stuff like that. Touring, it does get expensive, and and I'm pretty sure the last 2 years have really put a damper on your whole what you do there with the coronavirus and all this going on.
Well, it wasn't that bad, to be honest, because we have an olive grove in Spain that I picked up really cheaply, and it just has olive trees, but we can camp there. So that's where we spent the 2 times of the lockdown. And in fact, I wrote lots of new material and lots of new recordings. And we started doing Facebook Live, which was really good. So that was a really good way to connect with people. And of course, there were a lot of people at that time at home twiddling their thumbs, and they were responding really well. So it was actually a really good way to get more of a response on Facebook more than anything.
Okay. I know social media and all these various platforms have done wonders during the pandemic, and it's even before the pandemic, it's done wonders in bringing out the independent artist. And you know, you guys got exposure today that they didn't have 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Exactly. And all it needs is that you create something that some people are going to enjoy, and then it works. And it's very simple and very direct, and I love that.
Right. Now, being all over the world, where's the craziest place you've been, the craziest thing you've seen that just made you turn your head and say, did that really just happen?
Oh, I'm not sure that I can think of anything just off the top of my head. There have been so many experiences. It's more a thing of beautiful experiences, actually, beautiful connections. And it's more apparent when you go to a country which is a completely different culture. So it was like that in India and very much in South Korea, because very few people speak English, but they really open up and they respond. They get the music, and then they bring you all sorts. They are very generous with their tips, and they bring you drinks, and they help you in any way they can. You get the translator out, and it's more that comes to mind, really. All the beautiful connections with individual people that you get on the street that you don't get with big concerts.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought here. So where can we find your merchandise, your albums and stuff? You got a website you want to plug for it?
It's a Bandcamp. Bandcamp has been really good. And so if you look for Marcus K on Bandcamp, then you should find me without any problems. There's also the latest album is doing really well, both on CD and digital download. And it's called Live with Looper #1. So if somebody types in Live with Looper, then Bandcamp should come up, and you can listen to all the songs individually. And it's worked really well. Actually, now it's actually growing as a part of our income every month, so that we can afford to relax a couple of days and travel a bit more than we would otherwise from the income that we have from selling CDs and digital downloads.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You go around the world in different cultures and different languages, there's always that barrier there. But when they hear that guitar and that drums and that rhythm, music is more or less a universal language.
Yeah. And my music is very much inspired by the blues, and everyone tends to get that.
Yes. That's what I'm hearing is a blues influence with a little rock sound to it, a little distortion.
Yeah, that's it. And I also, with the iPad, I can experiment more with the drum sounds, etc. So I also do rap influences more in the sounds and some of the grooves.
Now, and I seen that little drum pad you had using in the one video. Wow, what exactly is what kind of drum machine is that? I've never seen something like that.
Yeah, that's probably a Voodoo Child you're talking about. It's the Korg wave drum. And I used that for about 5 or 6 years, and it recently broke. And I'd already started experimenting with the sounds on the iPad, so I decided to replace it with a little pad where you do finger drumming. And that's what I'm working with at the moment, but I'm still experimenting. And I might at some point go back to the wave drum and have that as well, because the wave drum has got a strong character of its own, and it's great fun. It's a very organic type of instrument, even though it's electronic. It feels like you're actually playing a real drum, so it's good fun.
Oh, right. Well, if you don't mind, I pay YouTube to allow me to download music from YouTube, and I've downloaded a couple of songs. If you don't mind, we put them on Asgard Radio and let the rest of the world hear them.
Yeah, please. The more we can, the more people we reach. Great, wonderful.
All right. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us. I could sit here and chat with you all night long, but I know people out there have short attention spans, so I try to keep these,
Of course.
And yeah, it's already almost 10 o'clock here. It's almost bedtime.
Almost bedtime. We're just getting started here.
Yeah. You're what is it, like 11 o'clock in the morning over there?
It's 11 something. It's coming up to 12 now. So it's
but you're also into Saturday morning. We're still doing Friday night.
Yeah, we're already gone to the Saturday. Yeah, we already had our Friday night, so we're still recovering from that one.
So technically, people, you can say I'm talking to a guy from the future right now.
Yes, exactly. You're way ahead of everybody else.
All right. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us, and everybody out there in YouTube land. Check out Marcus K. Check out his YouTube page. Check him out on Bandcamp. And we will be back Sunday for our big Halloween fun show. So you guys have a nice day. AsgardRadio.com, where the gods go to rock. Chronic Chris here, hanging out with Marcus K. And like I said, check him out. This guy, I heard the music and I was kind of at work, but then I heard Voodoo Child. And all of a sudden, my head just perked up and I needed to know more. And so, like I said, we appreciate you hanging out and chatting with us, man.
Likewise, it's very, very good. It's been really good talking to you, and all the best with your show. And let's keep in touch.
All right. Yes, we definitely will. Everybody out there, look forward to hearing more from this guy on Asgard. Crown and Chris here. Have a wonderful night.